Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll. So it's orange. Remember in one post I said we'll find out what color it is. I thought it looked like it was orange, but from the bud you can't always tell, but it is definitely orange with a little red in the center. And my poor little calabachoas and bacopas are looking so pathetic that I probably will lose them. I hope not, but it's very likely that will happen. And I guess I'm going to have to try to find a shade somewhere else for this little house plant. It's just too hot for it out here, and it gets some shade, but evidently it does not get enough shade. And that also goes for my pretty Lenten roses. I put them in these pots, and when I first put them in there, they looked so great. I thought I might like them better in pots than in the ground, but I had to move them because my shade tree we had to take down, and they had no shade. But this area does get shade, but evidently, again, not enough shade for these pretty Lenten roses to live. I had one in this pot too, and I don't even think it's there anymore. I tried to put some coleus there to fill the pot out, so we'll see how that will do. And my little Mexican flame vine put on a bloom. I was watching this bud because I knew it would open before too long, and there it is this morning, looking great. Today is July the 3rd. Happy 4th of July tomorrow to everybody. And also I wanted to say that the July flowers are showing up. And you know, even though the July flowers are showing up and so many flowers are gone, this is Sweet William. It's still hanging on in lots of places. It is making its seed and going away for the season, but it was beautiful, and actually is still beautiful even at the beginning of July. And in the category of July flowers would be this beautiful pink star hibiscus, but as you can see, also this heat brings the grasshoppers in, the July grasshoppers that stay here until frost. So I'm needing to get out here and spray for some of this, because I have not only these, I have a few cucumber beetles, and I know that where one is, you have a problem. The pretty tall phlox is also a July bloomer. These are so beautiful. Just one little flower in a vase will make a bouquet. All these tiny little ones that make it up, that make up the one big bloom. And the butterflies love it. I love it too. And of course the beautiful, I usually think of June daylilies are still blooming just like they were in June. There's still quite a few of them left. You can see there's a bud here, but there's also a lot of them that have finished all of their bud. But there's still a lot, so we'll enjoy them at least part of the month of July. We'll kind of check that out and see how long they stay around. This is another beautiful semi-double daylily, and look what's behind it there, that pretty Sweet William. It's almost gone, but it has such a long bloom time for a perennial, and I just love it. Crepe myrtles usually bloom in July too, and this tiny little one is trying. All my crepe myrtles had to be trimmed back to the root practically. There was just a little bit of them coming back, and most of them, I think this is the only one that is blooming right now, so we won't get much bloom probably this year, although this one does have a lot of little buds, so it may just fill out and bloom for this tiny little short crepe myrtle. And I do love this one. It's called Peppermint Lace. Looks like this little bee is enjoying it too. I just now saw this. I was out here earlier and I didn't notice this little or big beautiful lily blooming here. When we went down to breakfast this morning, the owner of the little diner said that he had a friend that once was working at Walmart, and before he started his greeting job, he would always go out and water the plants. So someone came in and asked him what he did at Walmart, and he said he was the plant manager. So I thought, oh wow, I'm also a plant manager. Remember when I managed these little candy tuft and put some, this one's not doing very well either. I probably need to cut that dead part off of there. But I did put a few little ones up the way here, and I'm hoping that because of I know July is not the time to be transplanting, but this is a whole different case this year because it may hopefully be, the heat may hold off long enough, and the ground was so soft I was able to dig these up easily as you can do something when you're my age, and the heat it was still hot, even though 84 or even 90 is not like 94 or 104, and I know in some places it's been 115. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry for the people that had to do that, because we do know that is misery. And hopefully it'll go away soon and your cool will come back, and probably our cool will go away soon and our heat will come back, and I'll have to learn some way to deal with it. And while I didn't get this all filled out the way I someday want it, I also put pieces of divisions of candy tuft here in front of, all along the border. I put a little bit. There's only 2 little pieces here, but and then I went on down and put a little piece right here. And I know, like I say, this will not be enough to fill it out, but if these will begin to grow, I will have it that much farther along. So, and there's several of them in this little area right here, and just all the way around the border I put a few of these. And also I found out that the roly-polies were just making colonies under the live ones, so I did spray for those, and I've got to keep an eye out on them, because I think I may have figured out just why I'm not able to get these, because I have transplanted them where they've done well. I've divided them, transplanted them where I don't have any, so many times I couldn't even tell you. But I never really realized that it's the roly-polies that are taking these out and not giving them a chance to live. I also found a liquid that will kill the roly-polies, and it's waterproof after an hour. So that is so what I needed, because what I was using, the powder, it works until it gets wet, and of course in our heat you have to water every day, at least the things in pots, because they're not going to survive if you don't, and actually the whole garden needs to be watered every day. But now that I've figured that out, and I have something that will aid me in keeping them off of it, I feel like I maybe have a better chance to finally get that where I can get my Candy Tuft border that I've wanted for so long. Also this little pot right here, you know, I told you there's a nest back here, and I couldn't really tell what kind of nest it was because I couldn't see that it even had a little hole for a bird's nest. But when I pull this back, let's see if I can do it without, you can see that it has a little cavity down there, and I did not see any eggs or anything in there, and I'm kind of contemplating just pulling this out of there because I don't know if I'm going to put this back over like the little bird had it, but I don't know if that would live being water. I mean, if the birds could live with water on them every day, and I will have to water this little plant. So I haven't decided, but I'll probably take that out. I hate to destroy all of her work. What a lot of work she put into that. But I'd rather destroy the work than her little eggs or her babies. And this is another, what my Bacopa and my Calabachoa both are doing this. Oh, I wish I could keep them all summer long, and this would not happen. I've got to figure out how to prevent that and how to take care of them so I can have them because they're so beautiful. And this is the area where my Candy Tuft was doing very well. So this is where I dug up and took pieces of it to transfer, and here's where I transferred a little bit of it. You can tell that it's just newly done by the soil around it, but I'm hoping these will live and just be beautiful. They're just a little green plant every other time except spring, but in the spring they're covered with beautiful white flowers, and when there's not a lot of other stuff out here, you just need it the most in the springtime, and that just gives it such a wonderful border, a wonderful just color, well, white, but still it's color. It's a beautiful bloom for you to see in the springtime. And it doesn't matter that it's just green the rest of the time, because the rest of the time you have all these other pretty blooms going out here. And I assumed we'd probably have to say goodbye to our chances of rain till no telling when, but actually they're still in the forecast for next week to get some. Usually when that happens, they get it all around us and we get missed, but not always. So I'm hoping that we'll look at this. It's still beautiful, but look a little deeper and closer into it, and this is what I've got going. I just hate that this is happening to my Bacopa and to my Calabachoa both. It's just whatever is causing that, I don't know. I don't know what to do for it. The daylilies were looking good this morning as I walked down here. I actually clipped the dead ones off and left the pretty ones. And I do have a few grapes, so we'll see. I don't know. The birds will probably get them before we do. That's normally what happens. I'm not quite so happy with this little arrangement here. I don't know. It's all right though, but I think I maybe like the pretty pastel colors better with this little angel. My tiny little red bird's in a tree is not looking like a tree. It's not looking like it's gonna make it. I don't want to say that even. Please, Lord, let this little plant live and thrive and grow up to be beautiful. But this is my weeping willow tree, and I'm thinking I better move some of my pots underneath it where they have a chance of getting enough shade to live, the ones that were there in the front that I was showing you just a little bit ago. My sister gave me this little cactus, this little one right here, and look, it's got some new ones on it too. So I thought, I might lose that one, and I know it could still happen, but I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm hoping this will live. But I want to show you, if I can remember to put my sister's pot on here. This is definitely put to shame by hers. Oh, it's gorgeous, and it bloomed. I didn't even know it would bloom. It's beautiful, just sitting there looking great and green. But I'll show you hers. Oh, it's gorgeous, so gorgeous. Any of my sisters would probably do better with plants, and yet God laid this on my heart to do. So I am the plant manager of all this mess. But it is beautiful. Sometimes you have to get right down to one little plant and look at it to see how beautiful it really is. Because otherwise, a lot of time, all you see is the work that needs to be done, because there's definitely always something that needs to be done in here. I told my friend Ruby from the church, she took a few plants from me, and she really is getting interested in gardening. I think she has caught the bug, the gardening bug, but I told her, I don't think you can do this, Ruby, and not because you don't work, but because you do, because you basically, this has to become your life. There's really lots of other things that I would like to do, but I know I am responsible for this little garden, and I'm going to give it the best I can, which is not anywhere near perfect, and I'm just learning as I go. But that's a fun process too, especially when something works out, or you get to save a little plant, or just to see a brand new bloom. It's just wonderful. Oh, and I got a new little item for my little tiny water garden. Look at this beaver. Isn't it perfect to go here? And I got it at our local Etc. shop. which is a consignment shop, and it's just perfect in my little water garden. Look at this gorgeous pink lily bloom. I also am trying some more dianthus in my little pots that it had died out of. I had tried this once earlier, but I got more root this time, I believe, because it was just simply easier to get to the root and get it out of there and put it back in a pot because of the softness of the ground, because of the rain. So there is a little bit of a breeze blowing, a gentle one, but it's hot, and I have sweat running down my back and my neck, my face right now. And that's probably just the beginning of it, because it's the beginning of July, so we'll probably have quite a bit of heat to suffer through, and I do not do well in the heat. So a lot of the jobs that need to be done, I will have to wait until it's cooler, so the garden could be in pretty desperate need of being cleaned out and made to look better before I actually get it that way. But I'm just going to do the best I can, and hopefully by the beginning of our fall season I can have it looking neat and ready for a end of the season garden tour. But you'll want to keep looking at all the garden scrolls and see what pops up, or what does really well, or what dies out and I have to replace it with something else. And my zinnias are just now beginning to bloom, so hopefully we'll have several of those that will be beautiful. Oh, earlier I did see this little lily, or this big beautiful lily, that I wanted to show that to you too. I almost forgot. Look at this one. Oh my, this is so big and pretty. Look how big it is. And that's one of the spider daylilies. Oh, this is also a July bloomer. I didn't see this earlier, and it looks like maybe a bug has tried to take its little petal off there, but isn't that pretty? And what is it? I'll have to look it up for you probably. It's a, oh gosh, I can't think of it, but it's a pretty common little plant, but it's very pretty. It reminds me of a zinnia, but that's not what it's called. It might be Heliopsis, but I'll look it up and make sure I get the name right for you. These are small little daylilies, but a little cluster of them makes a pretty big impact. Oh, I don't remember if I told you that I did go ahead and move my little, this is like a 3-foot arborative little tree. And I did move it and put it on the corner because that's where I actually wanted it in the first place. And I took the little mum that was here on the corner and put it over here right behind this little swan. And I think I'm going to enjoy them both better in those areas. I think they're going to be really just where I wanted them. Purslane moss is blooming in this little strawberry pot. This is the one I did twice, and the first time the roly-polies and snails took it completely out. There was nothing left in it. But now, so far it's doing well. And I did go ahead and spray it with that insecticide that I told you about. And I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but it's readily available at most of the stores. I just hadn't heard of it or known to use it, and it actually seems to be working for those, so I'm going to be probably using that a lot because I have a lot of roly-polies. They just cover, like I said, when I dug these up, there were just colonies of them around their little roots. I don't know how they made it to be so healthy. But they had taken out the others, so that's probably why, because they were on the other ones and they had probably just moved over to the healthy ones. So hopefully I'll be able to curtail that now and have my candy tuft. This was one of my very first spider daylilies, and it's not really very big, but it's a good size too, and it's very noticeable. I always loved the way it just reached out at you, and I just enjoy it still. Look at this gorgeous daylily. It's not a spider daylily, but isn't it shining this morning? And I was just saying thank you, Lord, for letting me get a post and for everything that you helped me to get in it. And it reminded me of a little prayer we used to say that my brother reminded me of when he was dying. He put an old calendar up and looked across at it, and it had, thank you for the world so sweet. Thank you for the food we eat. Thank you for the birds that sing. Thank you, God, for everything. Please like and subscribe to the channel.